Hey YouTube followers, Frank and Angie. Long-term living abroad in Ecuador at the moment. We're in Salinas, Ecuador. We were living on $1,000 a month in Cuenca. That has gone up 35% here in Salinas. But beyond that, what's it really like to live long-term abroad? A lot of people ask, they say, well, I'm thinking about going over here or over there to retire, which is insinuating they intend on spending a longer term abroad. I wonder how many of you remember the mask videos, the gas mask videos? Raise your finger. Raise your hand. Somebody said if Cuenca was at sea level, you'd still be in Cuenca. Well, yes and no. Yeah, you had the elevation, and then you had the smog was a problem, a big problem. We briefly touched on this in some of the videos that we have listed on the blog under the title of Why We Moved from Cuenca to Salinas. We did briefly touch on this subject in those videos, but I want to expound on it so that the subject is extremely clear. Somebody asked, do you attribute the sleeplessness in Cuenca, now that you know more about parasites, do you think it was the parasites? And that's a two-part answer, and here it is. Looking back, we now know that we've had these parasites a lot longer. Looking back, though, the sleeplessness, some of that was attributed to the parasites, absolutely. We've made statements about that. But to be clear, there was definitely, well, for example, okay, when we first came to Salinas, it was like we entered a decompression chamber. I mean, we were just like moving in slow motion. We felt our blood pressure felt decompressed. We felt like we just took some chill pills, serious chill pills. And I mean, it was for weeks. Now we feel more normal. We've acclimated back. And remember, the key was that those were long-term. So we always were referring to long-term elevation effects. This is not the kind of elevation effects that somebody would necessarily have on a short-term visit. But in the long term, it's a lot of the effects that we were having were definitely long-term elevation effects. When we're talking about retirement, we're talking about long-term living, and that's what we do. We long-term live abroad. Now that we also know better, we also know that parasites have similar symptoms. So yeah, some of the sleeplessness in Cuenca was definitely attributed to parasites, but in no way would I say that none of it was attributed to elevation. I could not say that at all. There's a lot of elevation effects. Well, for one, it speeds up your metabolism, which helps you lose weight. I said in a different video, now that we're in Salinas, I've gained a few pounds. Nothing to panic about, but I mean, I still eat rice and beans,
Honey, I think that you look better now. You were too skinny in Cuenca.
Yeah, you can be too skinny. If you weren't overweight to begin with, then you start getting too skinny.
Two of the boys got too skinny.
So then, do we see an improvement in a lot of ways? Well, the biggest problem is that here on the coast, the water's a problem. It's an issue, it's a challenge, and it has to be taken super seriously. Hola, ¿cómo está? You can see that restaurant right there. It's got the sandbags in front of the door. The water, I think this happens a certain time of year, probably quite regular. I remember seeing this here in Salinas before, where the ocean comes up over the Malecon here and goes all the way there. I just want to add to my conversation about regrets, and I appreciate what that fellow said about the crime rates on the coast. We wrote about all that stuff in our guides, in our do-it-yourself coastal guide. That's one thing, is we're very thorough. The only other thing I would add about regrets would be, I regret that CUENCA didn't work out on a long-term basis. There's that thing, you're hopeful that it works out. If you're getting pushed out, then you're getting pushed out. What can you do? You can push back by sticking around, but you're just making things worse on yourself. And how is health not a priority, How is staying healthy not a priority? That's just not a place that we're at. Health always has been a priority. But as far as quality of life, it's way easier. It's a bigger city. Cuenca's a bigger city, and as bigger cities are concerned, I say it's bigger than like Salinas or most of the coastal towns. That's what I'm talking about when I say it's a bigger city. Yeah, Guayaquil's bigger than Cuenca, Quito's bigger than Cuenca, but then you've got the crime rates of bigger cities in developing countries. This is a serious matter. When International Living was making statements years ago about how Manta was going to be the next booming real estate center, well, look at what happened to that, and we were talking about the pitfalls of such things way before, but people you just have to live and let live, and realize that there are going to be a lot of people that just are going to do things they shouldn't be doing, and they're going to suffer for it, and they're going to lose money, and they're going to this and that. So if you help somebody avoid a catastrophe or a big problem in life or whatever, then that's great. We get emails from time to time. You guys have helped me with so much, this, that, this. I want to remind you too that not all the questions are suitable for these free videos, and we do have a consulting button on the website. It's not expensive. If you guys are contemplating spending thousands of dollars, you want the real skinny on stuff like that, right? You're contemplating spending thousands of dollars and you don't want to be disappointed, or you don't want any surprises. It's really worth it to check out the consulting button. I'm just saying that because there were several questions. A lot of the questions are more appropriately answered in a consulting session.